could let a wall like that intimidate you. Or see the welcoming bourbon in front of you. It's your call.
Jim Beam on the rocks.
Make it two. The bourbon that's been making history since 1795 invites you to make some of your own.
Endless Shrimp is back at Red Lobster with all the shrimp you want, any way you want them. There's new sesame ginger grilled shrimp with savory soy ginger sauce and sprinkled with Asian seasoning and favorites like garlic shrimp scampi. But Endless Shrimp won't last endlessly, so hurry in.
The halftime show is brought to you by AT&T. And as expected, the U.S. is running rampant through Group A. Currently, they have a +10 goal difference. Later tonight on FS2, if Mexico wins or draws with TNT, the states will confirm a semifinal spot next Sunday here on FS1. Again, both semifinal winners automatically advance to next summer's World Cup right here on Fox. And the defending World Cup champs closing in on their 23rd straight game without a defeat. Rob Stone, Megan Klingenberg, Alexi Lawless here with you. Wholesale changes to the U.S. starting 11. It did not impact their ability to find another early lead here in World Cup qualifying. And again, it came courtesy of a set piece.
Yeah, starting off in the 5th minute, Kristen Press with good pace and power makes it easy for Sam Mewis to go up, win the header. You got to mark the tallest player on the field.
Set pieces continue on here. Carly Lloyd, we're looking at a possibility next summer if this team makes it. Carly Lloyd is a substitute, but you know what? She's starting today. She's making the most out of her opportunities, and certainly this set piece is something that we're going to talk about, and set pieces going forward.
Carly Lloyd again in the 29th minute gets the ball under pressure with a step over, makes her defenders look stupid, plays it in the right-hand corner, and that's why she makes a name to always be on the field.
Goals number 103 and 104 for her career. And then Kristen Press, little breakaway here in the 32nd.
Yeah, this is just route one right down the middle of the field. I love the way she just lets this roll, uses the ball to do the work, and then off to the races. Still plenty of work to be done. Little fake there. Down goes Bailey. Back of the net. Cruising. U.S. is cruising.
Her 46th international goal. Remember, on Thursday, it was only 1-0 at the half for the United States, 4-0 for Jill Ellis' side right now. Size and set-piece success, something that the U.S. Lex has in spades here.
Yeah, why does this game matter? Look, Panama is overmatched, okay? And it's easy to say it doesn't matter. But this is a team that we know struggles to break down teams, especially when they bunker in. That is going to happen at a certain point. And it might be set pieces, ultimately, when this is all said and done next summer, that rule the day. So the opportunity to have them, generate them, and then make the most of them, even against inferior opposition, is key.
Yeah, when I played on the U.S. team, it was always a big point to make sure that we were the most organized on set pieces every time we stepped on the field. And you can see it when the U.S. steps out there. Everybody knows their role, everybody's doing their job, and they're making sure that they're taking care of business on set pieces.
Possession, total shots, goals, everything in favor of the U.S. as they continue to drive towards another World Cup qualifying victory. The star of the 2015 World Cup, Carly Lloyd. She's more of a super sub now, but today the captain has flashed in a starting role. She has two. It's 4-0 at the break.
Endless Shrimp is on at Red Lobster with all the shrimp you want, any way you want them. Try new crunchy Fiesta Shrimp, tortilla chip crusted and topped with a creamy blend of 3 cheeses. Favorites like garlic shrimp scampi are back too. So hurry in before Endless Shrimp ends.
Blue Moon is a Belgian-style wheat beer brewed with Valencia orange peel for a flavorful and refreshing taste that rises above.
In life, you either eat the protein of Jack Link steaks made with 100% beef and you run with Sasquatch, or you run from Sasquatch.
The halftime halftime show is brought to you by AT&T. And our coverage of the 2018 CONCACAF Women's Championship continues a little bit later today. Mexico versus Trinidad and Tobago in the other Group A encounter. The U.S. rooting for Mexico to either win or draw in that one, and they would be going through to next weekend semifinals. That one live over on FS2. And all the teams in this tournament looking forward to punching their ticket to France for the 2019 Women's World Cup. Also next summer here on Fox Sports, the U.S. men will be taking part in the Gold Cup. Women kick off the World Cup in 243 days. 4 goals already today for the States, including a double from Carly Lloyd's second half kick from Carey on the backside. Now back out to the two who are going to be calling this one for you in the second half. A sub has been made, and the soon-to-be announced U.S. Soccer Hall of Famer J.P. Delacamera. Allie Wagner with that one, guys.
Thanks so much, Rob. Appreciate that. Getting ready to start the second half. Allie and Rose LaBelle will come in for Julie Ertz. How will that change things on the field?
Most likely slides Brian into that 6 role, and then LaBelle will be more of your 10, and U.S. will maintain her 8.
Anxious to see how Pugh and LaBelle work together in this game, or in this half. U.S. leading 4-0. 2 goals for Carly Lloyd. Her 8th and 9th goals in World Cup qualifying, tied for 5th with Tiffany Milbrett, soon to be inducted into the Hall of Fame as well, and Christine Lilly. So good company.
And a good Hall of Fame class.
Good candidates this year, yeah. Our friend Brad Friedel, former Fox colleague, among them as well.
Way to deflect.
Brian. Short. Getting it wide. See if the U.S. can continue to move that offense like they did. It clicked in that opening half of play. Could have had more goals were not for the play and goal of young Bailey. Hugh cutting. That's very loose defending until that trip. That's a late whistle, but a proper call. Free kick here for the USA.
And Pugh already involved in the early goings here. 3 defenders, in fact. She opts to cut inside, and it's that lingering leg right there of Batista that catches her.
Rose LaBelle will take this set piece from about 24, 25 yards away from goal. Will be her first touch in this game. Coming in for Julie Ertz. 4 in the wall for Bailey of Panama.
And this could be one of those where it's the follow-up shot that could prove more dangerous.
A lot of space there for runs. Played across by LaBelle. Lloyd! 3 for Lloyd! Right off the training ground. 5-0 U.S.
This is just simple stuff, JP. It's a brilliant ball, in fact, served in by LaBelle. You can see how deep Panama's line is. They're just allowing the U.S. to sit in with pressure, and then Lloyd just escapes her man. Easy slot there for her. Rises up, and again, it's just no one's on her. Clear path to the ball. Little tuck in of the header right underneath Bailey. Trying to stand tall there, but this one eludes her.
Her 10th goal in World Cup qualifying, her 105th goal overall internationally. She continues to move up the scoring charts. A 5-0 lead for the USA. We mentioned Bailey in the first half. She made 8 saves. She had 7 total in her first 3 World Cup qualifying appearances. And many of those saves were spectacular.
It looks like she's going to be called upon this second half plenty more times.
Lloyd with a flick. Coming back to Bailey. First hat trick for Carly Lloyd since 2016. That hat trick versus Thailand. Mewis, wide right side. Mallory Pugh, 1v1 at the moment. Try to beat Murillo, plays it back outside. Sana with a nice cutting move, and a cutting ball inside for LaBelle. That's blocked. It'll fall for Mallory Pugh. Mace. Bryant. Morgan Bryant. Defended there by a sea of red. Got it wide for short. Tucking it in. Here's Lloyd. Already with 3 goals. Playing it across. Mallory Pugh. Blocked off the line. Sonnet. That's blocked as well. That last block was by Quintero. Nice move by Sonnet. Good recovery from Quintero. Has help from Mills. As soon as the U.S. loses the ball, too, they immediately try to win it back.
That's a staple in how they play. A lot of it is about where they regain the ball. They opt to do so in the attacking third, as most teams would like to do, but the U.S. is just incredibly efficient at it.
And it's impressive, isn't it, Allie? With a 5-0 lead, there's still that hunger to get to it. No lazy habits that they're picking up.
Sometimes this is when players rise because they know they're going to probably get on the score sheet. When they know they can pick off a pass, there's more reward in their effort typically.
Spoken by a former player. Going inside, there's Bailey to punch it out. Morgan Bryant. Wide for press. Up for Mewis, the header wide. Not sure if she was heading that toward goal or towards Carly Lloyd, but either way, it's a goal kick for Bailey. And a rough start for Panama to this half.
And it's a lofty service from press. That's why Mewis can't get a ton on that. Just trying to redirect it into that far post. Not enough pace.
Allie, in a game like this, where it's a lopsided score, if you're Jill Ellis, what are you looking for in this game? Because you have to balance the opponent, the scoreline, all of that stuff.
Well, probably first thing is no injuries. So that means you move the ball quickly. That means you jump. You don't take unnecessary risk. But I think the tempo is something the U.S. has worked on, whether that be offensively or defensively. She wants to see this team continue to dominate and dictate tempo. Play quickly, even if the pressure's not arriving as soon as it might against a Canada, perhaps later in this tournament. And defensively, you touched on it. I mean, to continue to hound and press and win the ball high up on the pitch, less passes to goal, create chances, and then efficiency in the final third. And I think she's seeing maybe two of those 3 things.
You mentioned Canada. Everyone expects the U.S. to match up at some point with Canada, but in the knockout round, Canada second place in Group B at the moment. Here's offside. As Press was making a cut, Lloyd was open in front, but it never materialized.
Still good vision, though, from Mewis there. Saw that in the second half of the NWSL season when she started to come back into form. It's her ability to slip people in, to play those cutting balls between the lines, set up her opponent so they don't even have to take players on because suddenly they find themselves in acres of space.
Panama wanted to keep that score as low as they could because of goal differential. It's almost to where Mexico was. That was 6-0, and there's still a lot of time left in this one. And Mexico has a very big game coming up against Trinidad and Tobago. It's a big game for them as well. 7:30 on FS2. Ball is pushed across by Hine. In zone. Gave it away. Morgan Bryant. Run is made. Presses in. Save again. Bailey has been terrific and continues to be. Batista. Ran into traffic, was bailed out by that foul. Can't say enough good things about a 17-year-old goalkeeper. Sorry, but that's true.
It is remarkable. Robin, some players are padding their stats here today.
In a 5-0 game, we're talking about how good Panama's goalkeeper is. That tells you what kind of a day she has had. LaBelle over the top, looking for Mallory Pugh. Read and cut across by Pinzon. Throw in U.S. Sana will take this throw in. Players are loosening up by the USA bench. I see Lindsay Horan up, Tobin Heath up. You're allowed 3 subs in this competition. Normally in these friendlies that we've seen the USA play, it's been 6. So you have to be a lot more careful with the subs in this tournament. Long throw in there. Up from US. Bailey came out. Flag. No goal. Flag was up. Foul inside. In the 55th minute.
I think Bailey was actually bailed out on this one. You can just see the presence of Sam Lewis's ability back to goal, trying to flick that on. I don't know what they're calling there on Lloyd. If she's coming, yep, she came from an offside position.
Panama will put it back into play. Great day for Carly Lloyd with 3 goals and could have had more were it not for Bailey at the opposite end. Harris. Her only action tonight has been on back passes, really from her teammates. The U.S. has not allowed Panama anything in their defensive third. Dahlkemper. Mace.
You can hear Ashlyn Harris dictating back there.
Over the top. The U.S. makes the run. So does Lavelle. The U.S. went down. Lavelle with Lloyd open. Just missed. Carly Lloyd couldn't have been more open. I guess if Lavelle scores there, you can forget about it when you miss.
You got to think twice, and it's Sam Lewis who sets up Lavelle. You can see she's got all eyes for the goal, just trying to glance that into the far post. Bailey would have had it covered anyways, but to your point, JP, should have slipped Lloyd in.
It looked like Lloyd gave her a good wave to say that was okay, if I was reading the body language correctly. Cox. Trying to settle things down. Foul is called. Free kick for Panama. Going the other way. Is there a way, Allie, for Panama to minimize this damage? They've already given up 5. How can they keep it better, tighter, so that they're not giving up 7, 8, 9?
And it's no disrespect to Panama. I just don't think there is anything tactically that they can shift. I think they're doing their best to keep their lines tight. Pressure's just arriving too late, and I think individually they just can't stand up to the speed, the pace, the precision of the U.S. So even if they are getting there, it's phantom pressure, really.
57th minute, USA with a 5-0 lead over Panama. 3 from Carly Lloyd, 1 from Sam Lewis, and 1 from Kristen Press. It's a learning day for that man, Victor Suarez. Panama's bench. You'll still have another game to go, though, as Cox tries to catch Harris off the line. Pretty ambitious. Panama still has to play Mexico. We'll see what happens in that game today, what kind of a Mexico team they may face in Game 3.
And then it's going to perhaps be some consideration to how much minutes he gives to some of these players, whether he opts to start making changes.
He's got 2 subs up now as we speak. Mallory Pugh cutting it back, knocked away by Mills. We are going to see some changes soon for Panama. One of them is their bright goal scorer, Erica Hernandez, who's also just 19 years of age. Mallory Pugh trying to go inside. Almost had Lavelle. Mills cutting it back. Pugh went down. Lavelle keeps it. Drives it across. Press tags it. Didn't hit it as clean as she wanted. But knew what she was doing there. She could have volleyed that one home. There are the 2 subs up. 18 and 19, Hernandez and Cedeno. We're going to see those changes now. It'll be the end of the night for Panama's 11, Natalia Mills, with Hernandez coming in. Hernandez just 19, as we mentioned, 36 goals in Panama, 33 during the regular season, 3 in the playoffs. Also coming out, Carla Riley, so they will save her for that 3rd game, and she'll be replaced by an even younger Lyneth Cedeno, age 17.
Entering the game for Panama, number 19.
And that won't shift things for Panama. Cedeno will slide in up top. Hernandez goes into that wide space.
for another corner. And Lavelle will be taking it. Everyone up for the U.S. 5-0 lead for the USA. Lit up Mexico for 6 on Thursday night. Lavelle will drive this one. That's headed away, but not out. Lloyd drives it, blocked in front, and cleared away. Thought Lloyd had her 4th goal when it left her foot. Fouling short. Fouled Cedeno, who just came into the game. Steve Tobin Heath warming up. Crystal Dunn. Others have been up before for the U.S.
How about that craft from the 17-year-old? Cutting Casey short. Professional foul there to slow down the attack. And I think the U.S. almost was in trouble because this near side, I believe it was Hernandez, had actually gotten in behind Sonnet. One of the things you have to be careful of.
Batista is looking long. That's denied. U.S. clips it ahead. Missed press on that ball. Panama back on it. Lloyd trying to win it back quickly for the U.S. It comes wide, left side. Hernandez spinning away. Cox will play it wide. Murillo. Hernandez is after it. That's Dahlkemper. Lavelle came back to win it for the U.S. Gave it away. His last touch by Dahlkemper, who now must defend against Cox. What a move that was, and then she was held back. It falls. Cedeno, low shot blocked. She keeps going. Pushed through the middle. Batista missed everything. Not sure how. Wide open net for her. She's not sure either.
That was the one for Panama. You talk about being brave and taking players on. It starts in the wide areas with Hernandez, and then it pops out to Cedeno. She cuts her defender, and then it's a poor clearance, really, that lands at the feet of Batista, and she skies that one. What a chance. What a look that was.
By far their best look of the night.
Oh, yeah. That's one you got to put away.
Mace. Mewis. And that's going to go on a play. So Panama done with the subs. U.S. has only made that one change. Lavelle came in for Ertz. Lavelle has quickly established herself in this game with her possession and ball movement. Cutting his view, blocked. Hernandez slips. Lavelle took off with it. Lavelle still has it. Rose Lavelle on the right for this time, slotting it in. It's behind Pugh, left there. Quick chance, Lloyd with a chip off the crossbar, and Pugh puts it over. What a pretty touch that was from Lloyd. It just didn't go. And she knows how good that was. It's almost a special goal.
It was. There were multiple good touches. How about that one from Pugh behind her standing leg? And then Lloyd just has time and space. Great awareness to try to chip that one up and over. Bailey, who's off her line, the recognition. But Pinzon also read it well to cover in behind. And then from one end to the other, both players skying their opportunities.
U.S. is not let up at all. Up by a 5-0 score here. Sonnet up the middle. Lloyd continues to find that space. This time double teamed and lost it.
I think she's actually been more effective when she's staying up high on between the center backs, making that run outside of Murillo into that wide channel on that left side when she's getting it into the 18.
That's her position now, though, right? Before she was more of a midfielder, attacking midfielder, if you will, but now she's higher up.
Yeah, it seems to be the way that Jill Ellis wants to utilize her, and I think you can point to versatility being something that she has going for her, that she can slot back into midfield in situations where substitutions are limited and you have to make some changes. But absolutely.
She scored 3 goals today. Could have had at least 5, if not more. No exaggeration. Casey short on the ball.
And I think her movement on that back line has been incredibly bright. On
this right side, it's Rangel pushing it back. Batista lost it, bad spot, because Lloyd can start the counter with one pass. To Pugh. Mallory, 1v1. Nice job defending as it's knocked away. Gathered back in by Lavelle, but it's going to go out. Pinzon made the play.
I think Murillo's actually stood her own tonight against Pugh on the right side.
It's US throw-in for Mallory Pugh, who plays for the Washington Spirit, NWSL. She too missed a lot of time this year due to injury. I think that Mallory Pugh is so young, and she is, but we mentioned the 8 teenagers on Panama's squad.
And they've only gotten younger with each substitution.
Including Hernandez on the ball. Cox. Rangel. This is better from Panama. Castillo. Up in this right side. Cut off. Cedeno fights. Can't win it. The U.S. continues to win these battles in the USA midfield. Dahlkemper. U.S. finding space in that seam. Going right. There's Pugh. Defended by Murillo. She cuts inside of her. Pugh got it. Lavelle left foots it up. Lloyd. Flag stays down. Lloyd played it across. Pugh tried to make something out of that. Up the middle. Cox. Cut off again. Mewis. And this ball is going to go on the play. Let's go downstairs and hear from Alex Curry.
But we saw Panama's head coach Victor Suarez do something we're not used to seeing, and that was having an open training prior to their first match. Every other team in this group only had the first 15 minutes open to the media, but he mentioned on multiple occasions that it was important his players get this exposure because this is a first experience for many of their players, with the average age on the team being 21 and a half, including the youngest player in this tournament, Shayla Diaz, who just turned 13 years old. Now, they also have a lot of Panama players who admire girls on the U.S. team, he said, and they were very excited to have this opportunity to play one of the strongest teams in the world.
Thank you, Alex. Imagine, Allie, a 13-year-old on a national team. I mean, that's
unheard of.
Unimaginable,
Yeah.
right? But it's happened with Panama.
And
it's a good experience, even though maybe the idea was never to play her, regardless.
Right.
She's training with the team. She's watching from the bench, watching the highest level in terms of the USA. She's got to learn.
Well, that was one of the things he said, too, was success for us is getting close to qualifying. It's working on, yes, can we create opportunities here now, but it's about the future.
Ball is pushed back to Ashlyn Harris. The future looks okay with a goalkeeper. She's only going to get better. She's 17 and so many great saves this afternoon.
And I like some of the confidence you see out of these players, whether it's Hernandez or Cedeno who just subbed in. You saw the craft that they have in their boots.
Cox leaves it off. Right side, Rangel. Back to Marta Cox. Gave it away too easily there to Morgan Bryan. Dahlkemper. Too far for Pugh. Almost got it, though. 68th minute. USA with a 5-0 lead over Panama. A hat trick for Carly Lloyd. The turn by Cedeno. She got sandwiched and crunched by Lavelle and Sonnet.
And successfully draws the foul. Again, it's just a little thing, but she's got two players. Initially sends Sonnet the wrong way with that cutback, and then she's trying to slice between two, and you're either going to win that, you're going to slice through, or you're going to draw the foul. She does the latter.
Panama will have a free kick when play resumes. U.S. still has made just that one change, and you wonder, maybe Jill also will just take a look and see who looks like they need a breather as opposed to something tactical. Still see Moran warming up, probably longer than most others have. Free kick, Cox. Headed up, short, one swing and a miss. Cut off there, played across, and that's wide of Harris, but it was deflected out. It's a corner for Panama. Rangel will go over to take it. Had a hat trick in a recent game against El Salvador. Driven across by Rangel. Cedeno is up for it. Driven in. Oh, saved by Harris. That's her first one. That's off Quintero. That was a good effort from Panama. And it's tough for any goalkeeper when you've not been tested to have to face a tester like that. Set across by Hine. On Fernandez. Batista. Panama's not as good as Mexico player-wise, but I see better ball movement, don't you, from them than Mexico the other night?
Way better possession. And I go back to bravery being a key word, and that ball goes awry. But oftentimes they're playing to the right spaces, the right foot.
Lavelle, full speed ahead. Lavelle getting wide, and that trip should be a yellow card. Clearly, Lavelle would have been free. Yellow on Catherine Castillo.
Sometimes I forget how fast Lavelle is because she's so good on the ball, but you can just see how quick her feet move, and then she has got that pull-away pace, and Castillo knows she's beaten, has to take her down. Right decision by the referee to Carter.
Free kick coming up for the USA. Dahlkemper just got some instruction from Jill Ellis on the sideline. She drifts back out. Lavelle from beyond 30 yards out. Unique Bailey still trying to set up this wall. On that whistle, Lavelle will strike. Floats one right at goal. Not sure if Rangel was expecting that, or if Bailey was expecting that off Lavelle. It was right to her. Batista. Murillo. Pinson. Cox. Another foul. Cox is going to be spoken to. Free kick U.S. 72nd minute. Still have a couple of more subs to make if they choose. Do the restart again. Lavelle will take another. Second game coming up at FS2. Mexico, TNT, FS2, 7:30. Pushed across. Lavelle leaves it for Dahlkemper. And now Lindsey Horan is being spoken to on the sideline by the USA coaching staff. Anticipating her coming in. Here's Bryan. Flicking in. Lloyd was going for it. So to the goalkeeper. Now the chip. And that's going to be wide. Kept in. Hugh. Sixth goal. Panama looked dazed and confused there. And Bailey's down again. A half dozen goals in this one.
And this is one that Bailey comes off her line. It's a quick combo straight up the middle. His touch just lands right in behind the back line that Lloyd's closing in on, and she runs right into Bailey, and you just think the referee might have to blow this play dead because, in fact, the goalkeeper's down in a heap. But she doesn't impute, sets up her touch nicely, and then slots that one in. A lot of margin for error there between those two defenders.
Got deflected in two. Mallory Pugh with that goal. It's her 13th international goal. 6-0 USA. So 12 goals in this tournament. Second game, yet to concede.
Now the margin.
Looking sharp.
Yeah, but the margin for Panama the same as Mexico's match at this point. So high boot.
See it again.
And Lloyd does, in fact, pull her leg back.
But she catches Bailey. The whistle there, though, right?
I think so.
That's at least the third time that Bailey's been down today. While she's down there, let me ask you about the rest of the tournament. U.S. rested players today. You would assume that they come back with a lot more of their regulars for that next game and then into the knockout. So how do they manage this 5 games in 14 days?
Well, to this point, they're doing it brilliantly, dominating with basically 2 full sets of starters with the 9 changes today. But I think you go into that third game, you start to bring in what you believe is your core starters back into the fold, and so they have their rhythm going into what is going to be the knockout stages. And then it's just about getting results, obviously, at that point, and game management, depending upon who comes out of Group B in 1 or 2. Obviously, the U.S. wants to come out 1. He predicted there's going to be a Costa Rica or perhaps a Jamaica who looked to put up a stiff test for Canada the other night.
Yeah, Canada didn't look as good as we expected, but it's only 1 game. New coach, right? It's only a 2-0 win. Tough to tell. What do you make out of Costa Rica laying up Cuba? I mean, Cuba's one of those teams that you think they're going to concede a lot of goals.
Yeah, I just don't think there was a lot of learning points for the U.S. in terms of opponent tactics yet and who they might potentially face in that semifinal or final match. But I do think how they've dominated tonight again against Mexico, the way they've played the U.S. has got to put a lot of fear into the opponents of everyone in Group B. And obviously Trinidad and Tobago for that 3rd group stage match.
I wonder if that discussion is about not blowing the whistle when the goalkeeper was down.
VAR, we need VAR.
There's no video review or any of that.
They need it.
But I think she's waving it off. She is. She waved it off. So she had a conversation with the assistant referee, and they made that determination. But I think, Alan, according to what you said, what I thought too, it was the right call.
I think it is the right call. And it's a gift of hope for Panama now. 1 less goal conceded to this point compared to Mexico.
It's the 4th official that was talking to her, not the assistant referee. So let me correct that on this near sideline, who is right next to Lindsey Horan, who was getting ready to sub in. Let's see who's going to come out. So well done. We still need VAR at the World Cup, so let's lobby for the women's game. Let's start right now.
All right, I'll start a petition.
Listen up, FIFA. It's needed in the women's game, same as the men. It worked for the men, it will work for the women. Let's bring it to France.
Equality. Isn't there a tagline, something about that?
I think so. Dahlkemper out, Horan in. How do you see the U.S. changing now?
Looks like immediately they're going into a 3-back.
So is this one of those situational things that you were talking about before,
yep,
if needed in a game?
Again, it's another 3-3-4 formation almost, it looks like, where it's presenting as such with double 9s, pushing to get a goal.
Here's Pugh. One was taken away. Will she get one here? It's wide. It's a pass, though, and sent over. Kristen Press, who's had a good game, just missing there.
Well, on cue, off of a goal kick, in fact, they just come storming down the middle. Far too easy. I mean, there's a lot of space there, and then you can see the breakaway pace that Pugh has, trying to lay that in stride for Press. Can't catch up to it, sliding to it. Oh, it's the half bounce that catches her.
Press with 1 goal today, her 46th international goal. All USA today. It's a 5-0 lead. One was taken away. Ball set in. There's Pugh. What a setup off the top of the post as well, and cleared out. Even when they miss, it's exciting.
It's because Bailey, she did just enough there again, coming off her line, distracting Pugh. She's gonna need an ice bath after tonight.
This ball is bouncing, cleared away by Cox. I know you covered the NWSL this year. An NWSL coach has to be thinking, this is a 17-year-old kid. Why not bring her in at some point for a tryout? What do you have to lose?
And
right?
yes, absolutely. And I think there isn't a great amount of depth in the goalkeeper position in the league. More to your point.
I'm certainly not saying she starts, not even saying she makes a roster, but I would give her a look, for sure. Just to see. Short. It's going to be a throw in here for Panama. Of course, we're basing it off of this performance, but it's just a look.
Maybe you should be our agent.
Maybe.
Hall of
I'm kind of
Famer
busy right
/
now.
agent.
I'm kind of busy right now, but I'll take it on as a favor to you. All right, so what do we look forward to here? 80th minute. How should the USA close this? They may make one other change, but what do you want to see out of them?
Well, with the 9-9 formation that they have in their 3-3-4, you're going to want to see a lot of balls lofted into that target area. The interplay of Lloyd and Horan, how is their movement off of each other with one checking, one spinning? Obviously getting the ball into those wide areas with Pugh and Press, the ability to serve it.
What's the difference in Horan this year and all the goals that she scored for Portland?
I would go to efficiency, but I think the impetus is there to make those runs out of midfield. I think her timing and technique is even improved, even though she was a threat before in the air.
Pugh versus Murillo.
But I think I was even more impressed with her ability just to dictate play for Portland.
League MVP.
And the defensive work she did. We don't even speak to it.
Lofted for Lloyd off the chest. Turns. And that was offside netting, it looked like, but I thought she was going to take that down with one touch.
I'm with you. I thought she was just going to cure that one in with her head. What a ball in by Horan. That's another thing that she brings to the game, her range. I mean, this one just drops in perfectly. Poor recovery, obviously, by Panama. They're gassed.
Ball comes out to short. She's going to take it on her own. It's off Mewis. She recovers it. Quick shot there, and it's stopped again by Bailey.
And smartly, that is a smart, young 17-year-old. She falls to the ground. She catches it cleanly and then falls to the ground to just eat up a little more clock.
82nd minute. All USA, a 5-0 lead. One goal was taken away, but we think legitimately for a foul with the goalkeeper down. After the discussion between the match referee and the fourth official. Here's Cox leading it. Murillo out wide. 1 against 2 now as the U.S. will try to close. That's good collective team defending. He took away a potential chance for Panama.
I think Murillo would have been better served to place that one in the box sooner.
Lindsey Horan drive it across.
There's that range.
And then left side to the end line. The U.S. will drop it back. Intended for Mewis. Ball is still loose. The fight from Mewis. Finally loses it, but she was 1 against 4. Panama back at the ball in the 83rd minute. Rangel, if she could have received that ball, might have been off to the races.
That was actually a poor decision by Mace. She jumped the pass. She bit, thinking it wasn't going to go in essentially to Rangel. Wasn't made to pay, though.
Lindsey Horan ahead off Lloyd. It almost fell to Pugh. Off the right foot. I'm fascinated just watching her tonight.
To collect that back pass?
Ball laid in. The cut. Press. Looking up high. Great work rate this afternoon from Press.
Yeah, even in that last attack, she just blew by the defense down that left side. Here she opts to cut it back. Could have perhaps slipped in Pugh, but looking for her own shot there, falling away from it, hard to get over it.
The goal kick for Panama.
Still hanging tough at that 5-0 scoreline.
Yep. Mexico's on after this versus TNT, an important clash for both in Group A, 7:30 on FS2. Ball loose. Gathered in. The U.S. fighting for it. Still fighting, but it's finally won by Panama. Not for long. Few track back. They're still relentless on defense, even up 5-0. Q and others just don't give up in these balls.
Well, what did you say at the beginning of this match? A lot of these players are fighting for starting spots. You can't afford to give up. Even though you're up 5-0, you've got to continue to have that work rate and impress in the minutes you are given.
A lot of celebrities tonight, right? Mia Hamm is here, we saw. Christine Lilly, El Presidente up here in the press box.
Tisha
Fernando Fiore,
Venturini.
right?
Yeah.
Sharing the spotlight with the other two that I mentioned.
And of
Off
course,
that quick
yeah,
throw in.
the Hall of Famer, JP Delacamera, right next to me.
Not yet. Short on the ball. Switching it. That's too far even for the night that Kristen Press has had. She's not going to get to that ball. 85th minute. USA just trying to close it out. Short on it. What do you take out of this game, Allie, from start to finish? 5-0.
But the U.S. is better than Panama.
What else? Give me more. Give me more.
Really, they know how they want to play. The U.S. looks sharp. They look efficient. It doesn't even matter. 9 changes, and they really didn't step off the gas pedal at all from opening match against Mexico. I think there's a lot of variety and versatility with this group, whether it be Lloyd slotted into that center forward position, whether they go into forefront when they need to push to get a goal. I think Casey Short, you know, it's a welcoming party for Haley Mace. She hasn't been tested much, but a good opportunity to learn.
All of the players that we talked about that were injured coming into this all seem to have played well and getting a lot of minutes tonight.
Yeah, the only player that I think we just didn't see perhaps enough from tonight is Pugh, in fact. I think she could have been brighter on the wing. I think she is a fantastic player. I think the sky is the limit for her. I just don't know that she imprinted in this right wing the way that Press did in that first half on the left side. I think more of it filtered through the right in the second half, but I don't know it was because of Pugh's presence, more of perhaps Lavelle slotting in and being that option in this wide or this center midfield in the right.
Where does her game need to go? I've seen her improve since she was 17, but where else? What's the next level for her? How did she get better?
Her impact tonight could have been bigger, right? This is a game where she should be dicing up the right back. She cut inside a ton. Instead of just going around the edge, she's got the pace, she's got the skill to beat the player 1v1, but she opted to go into cover. So I think it's just those decision-making ability in certain situations that can go to the next level. And then occasionally leave your right wing spot. Press did it, you know, float across the pitch, make an overload.
What a ball from Haran. There is Pugh behind the defense with a step there. Pinzone is coming. Pugh drives it across. It's blocked. Could have been an own goal. But Haran, again, as she was going down, found a way to get that ball ahead to Pugh.
You saw it. There's the range. Just drops this one in, and then Pugh's got acres of space. Gets her head up. She doesn't have the near post runner, so she's trying to bend that far into Lloyd's path. Can't get it around that retreating second defender in Hine.
All the way back to Ashlyn Harris. One big save she had to make. Granted, the score was 5-0, which is protecting that shutout. This could be the 4th straight for the U.S. Haran. That's blocked. Lavelle goes for it. Pinzone. In the 88th minute, Haran again on the ball. Left off there. Lavelle. Crafty move. Gets it on that favored left. Puts it across. Laid off by Lloyd for Press. And she was looking for Haran at the back post. Some of the best passing sequences tonight have resulted in no goal.
That's a fair point, and I thought Lloyd was perhaps too unselfish here, setting up Press. You know what she's trying to do, just curl it into that far post. Can't get enough action on it.
It's tough to get minutes up top when we were talking before about Rapinoe, Keith, and Morgan all playing fantastic individually, but also that teamwork, especially with Rapinoe and Morgan, because they've been together longer.
Yeah, there's just a chemistry that has been built between those three, and you can get it in training, and you know these three are going to be playing and training together with Pugh, Lloyd, and Press, so there is going to be a comfort level there, but nothing replicates a game situation.
Suarez still encouraging his team. He's clapping, he's encouraging them, even down by 5-0. He's seeing some things.
And again, a better scoreline than Mexico walked away with at this point.
For short. Spinning in the circle, finding Morgan Bryant. Driven by Mace, finding Mewis. Mewis looks ahead. The turn by Horan, finds the right option in press. Lloyd and others go for goal, but the flag was up. Offside, U.S. Not sure who was offside there. At least 5 players made runs at the same time.
I think they flagged press for it on that far side, and
yeah,
it's tight. It's tight. I think Murillo might have kept them on, both her and Lloyd. But that's the beauty of playing with the double nines. Horan's checking off, but you still have Lloyd crashing in. You still have 3 people on that restraining line if that pass connects.
All the way upfield. Right up the middle. Oh, the look was for Cedeno. Mewis turning, leaving it for short. Cox for Panama. Almost at 90 minutes. We'll see about stoppage time. Foul was given there. 3 minutes, minimum of 3. Added on here in stoppage time from Cary, North Carolina. Again, following us, 7:30 FS2. Must-win game, really, for both of those teams. Mexico versus Trinidad and Tobago. More so for Mexico, Ali. I'm interested in their response because they have more talent.
Absolutely, the pressure's on them.
Morgan Bryant, jersey tug and a half. Up it comes. Horan inside the box. Cunning. Trying to play it across. Earns a corner. In stoppage time. U.S. will take their time here. 5-0 lead. Scored a couple of goals already off of corners in the first half. Some warnings being given. Morgan Bryant among those being spoken to. Off this corner, driven near post, it falls to the middle. Instead, Morgan Bryant got underneath it, over the bar. Goal kick coming up as the referee has looked at the watch. Time running out.
Yeah, Horan got free because Pugh picked off her defender for her. Can't connect as that one glances by.
Put back in play by Yenith Bailey. 8 first half saves she made. This ball is cleared ahead. Should be just seconds left in this. Sonnet going forward. Lavelle, twists back, looks over the top for Mallory Pugh by the corner flag. Cut inside, no foul given. Batista, Cox. Out wide for Rangel. 1v2 at the moment. And that ball is given away. Got a closing thought?
The U.S. just looks like a well-oiled machine. I mean, really, I know the opponents are not at their level, but the U.S. is proving that they're not. And oftentimes, we've had slip-ups in the past where you don't perform as well when the pressure isn't great, when the team isn't as technically sound. And I think the U.S. is keeping their standard incredibly high, and they're managing this tournament to this point very well.
Horan may have another chance before it ends. Lindsey Horan holding. Unselfishly tried to give it away. It's Lavelle picking it up. The shot was blocked. Rangel will pick it up. Push forward to Cox. That will do it. Final whistle. They kept the better scoreline than Mexico. We saw some good things tonight from Panama, but so many great things from the USA in this 5-0 win over Panama. Yenith Bailey with a great night in goal despite giving up all of those goals. Hat-trick tonight for Carly Lloyd. Press had one, Mewis had one as we get ready to turn things back to LA. And Rob Stone
JP, thanks. Megan and Alexi have joined me right now as we take in the live images from Kerry. So a 6-0 victory over Mexico on Thursday, 5-0 today. The U.S. in firm control of Group A. We will know in about 2 hours' time if they've already booked a semifinal spot. Lex, no real change to that outlook and attitude that they've shown to start qualifying.
We talked about this team under Joe Ellis not taking anything for granted and understanding the job ahead. And yes, as Ali rightly mentioned, playing an inferior opponent, and they came out, they were professional, they got the job done, they did exactly what needed to be done, but they did it in a way that, yes, it was patterns, but ultimately I'm not sure there's a whole lot we can glean as far as going forward, but job well done.
Yeah, and the biggest takeaway for me has to be the depth of this U.S. team. There was 9 changes to the starting lineup, and they were still moving the ball quickly. They were breaking lines. They were getting forward and getting in on attack. Credit to that second group.
A couple nice shots of the Panamanian keeper, Yeneth Bailey, being helped off the field. Imagine what the scoreline would have been without her. We're actually going to give her a little TLC coming up a little bit, but Jill Ellis, another big victory. Coming up next over on FS2, Mexico, Trinidad, Tobago. That's the other Group A encounter today. A Mexico victory or draw on that one would mean that the U.S. would clinch a semifinal berth now that they've notched their 2nd straight win here in qualifying. Carly Lloyd, her 8th international hat trick. All U.S. today. More reaction from the win and full match highlights coming your way next. 32nd minute, Kristen Press, the fake, and the finish as she buried the 4th of the game. The U.S. unbeaten streak now at 23 straight, courtesy of the 5-0 victory, and Group A is owned by the red, white, and blue. 2 wins, plus 11 goal difference. Top 2 teams move on to Sunday's semifinal right here on FS1. Win your semifinal game, and you earn a ticket to France in next summer's Women's World Cup. Rob, Megan, and Alexi back here with you. 9 changes to the starting 11, and the final result just amplifying the depth of this U.S. team and the gap that really still exists between the U.S. and a majority of CONCACAF competition. Like they did Thursday, the U.S. got an early goal off a set piece. 3rd minute on Thursday, 5th minute today, Meg.
Kristen Press gives a great ball into the box. With pace and power, it makes it easy for Sam Mewis to rise above the rest.
Yeneth Bailey, we're going to talk more about this 17-year-old in goal. She had herself a day, and he was facing plenty of shots. Carly Lloyd on the doorstep gets 1 chance, gets another chance. Big, big save by Bailey. You can see again. Look at this. Wide open. Thank you. 1 save. You want another one? Not on my watch. I say no. That's what Bailey said.
Let's get her a college scholarship, huh? There's got to be a university here that will sign her up. 23rd minute, 2-0.
Carly Lloyd again. We're going to be talking about her all match. She had a wonderful one. Here she rises above the rest, gets away from her defender, and puts it in.
You want more Bailey? Of course you want more Bailey. 17 years old. Did we mention that yet, Rob?
We did.
She's 17 years old. Breakaway. Pew. Gotta be right. No. Bailey in her face. Coming up big. What a save. Oh, hurts.
Are you fired up on
the moneymaker.
I like it. All right, 29th minute.
Here we go. Carly Lloyd gets the ball in the box, fakes 1 way, 2 defenders, 3 defenders, and then calmly puts it in the side panel. That's world class. Look at this. You have to be so calm under pressure. In that box, there's so many things going on. That's difficult.
Her 2nd 2-goal game of the calendar year. She wasn't done, but first, Kristen Press, little breakaway.
Right down the gut. Kristen Press gets this, gets it out of her feet, uses her speed, plenty of work to do. Just outweights Bailey, a little shimmy. Goes around her, puts it in the back of the net. It's not as easy as it looks. You got a lot of time to think about that. She took it well.
Jill Ellis, a lot of fist pumping today.
Into the 42nd, looks like I'm talking about all the corner kicks. Here's the U.S. again. Bounces out to Morgan Bryant, and we're going to be talking about Bailey. Making a great save there, keeping her team in it.
Set pieces. Here we go, more. Oh, who is that? That's Carly Lloyd. Yes, gets her hat trick from Rose Lavelle.
Finally, 69th minute, another corner kick for the United States. Bounces out.
That's a Panamanian corner kick in a shot. Yeah, it caught us off guard, too. There weren't a whole lot of Panamanian offensive opportunities at all as we take a look at our final stats from this one. And Lex, as expected, heavily lopsided.
Yes, Rob. But the only one that matters as far as the World Cup next summer is that big one right up there on top, 5-0. The opportunities generated. There will be certainly some stories, but as I said before, not a whole lot to take out of it other than 3 points from the U.S., which is what they need to put themselves into contention to qualifying for next summer's World Cup.
Kristen Press with her 46th international goal came in the first half. Here she is after the game with our Alex Curry.
Kristen, it was all USA once again tonight. What did you guys do well to have another shutout performance here?
You know, I think the team's in a really good place. Chemistry's there. Defensively, mentality's there, trying to, not just, win games, but win with a style and a strategy that we can use in games moving forward.
You had a really strong start to this match with 4 goals in the first half. So is there anything you guys are looking to fine-tune in the final group stage match before heading to the knockout?
I think there's a lot that we can improve on. I think, this group had a lot of energy, really valued being on the field tonight, and that showed in the first half. But I think we need to continue to increase our quality, finish more chances, be even more deadly as we continue through the tournament.
Congrats. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, the U.S. yet to be pressed so far here in World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF. One of the big talking points today, clearly, Carly Lloyd. If you flash back 3 years ago, she was the poster child for this U.S. women's national team, the absolute star of the Women's World Cup. Now she's been relegated to kind of a super sub type role off the bench. She got the start today, also wore the armband, and what does she do? She gets a hat trick. So what does Jill Ellis do with that hat trick and maybe the message that was sent by Carly today?
Carly Lloyd is the type of player that plays with a chip on her shoulder. She likes to put the game on her back and take it into her hands. She was a huge factor in 2015 for our team, and she has the opportunity to play a different role, but just as important going into this 2019 World Cup. Coming off the bench, you give the team energy, you give the team new life, and that's something that Carly Lloyd is able to do.
She is a fighter, right? She is not just going to hand over and concede a starting spot. Look for her to make more noise going forward. Talking about noise, we're going to talk about the goalkeepers. Look, it's not often do we discuss a goalkeeper that conceded 5 goals, but the 17-year-old Panamanian, Yeneth Bailey, really impressed today.
She's 17 years old, which is amazing in itself. And look, you're going to play against the U.S. You know you're going to face plenty of opportunities and plenty of shots and difficult opportunities. And she came up big time and time again. And whether it was this wonderful save off her face, making herself big, or shots in close, this was a good performance. And it's strange, as you said, to say this is a good performance when it is 5-0. But it's also, she's playing against a team that's better than her in that she has nothing to lose. And oftentimes we see this. If you ask goalkeepers, they would much rather face multiple shots and lots of shots than that one shot that comes. And it's difficult when all you face is that one, because in that moment, you have to save your team. And it's a little more difficult when you are the superior team, as we saw here today, and you maybe face one opportunity.
Speaking of that one, Ashlyn Harris, we were kind of tracking, like, how many times is she actually going to touch the ball in this game? But when she was called upon, and this is what you need from your keeper behind you, she was there to make the save that mattered when it mattered.
You have to be completely tuned in the entire time as a goalkeeper, and that might be really difficult because you might not touch the ball for 60, 70, 80 minutes, but when your team needs you, you have to be able to step up, and that's what Ashlyn Harris did today.
Back-to-back blowout wins for Jill Ellis. How do you think she handles the troops heading into Wednesday's game?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. I mean, keep scoring those goals, keep being professional, keep recognizing that nothing's done yet. And you can't defend a World Cup championship unless you're actually there. And yes, you're playing against teams that they're not going to put a lot of pressure on you. It doesn't matter. It's not Jill Ellis's fault. It's not the U.S. Women's National Team's fault. It's not the U.S. Soccer Federation's fault that they are so much better than everybody else. Let CONCACAF deal with it. You just go through and you score as many goals as you possibly can. You just keep raking those points in and get yourself to France.
We were discussing this, Megan. Like, at what point do you pull off the brakes? You know, it's 4-0 right there. Do you say, all right, let's ease up? And you say that's not in their DNA.
As an athlete who wants to win and wants to score, I don't think that you take your foot off the gas, especially when you're practicing for this World Cup. You have to be able to use these games as training games for the better competition, for Canada's. You need to be able to do these things against lesser opponents to be able to do them against the better opponents.
Things will get tougher. We're going to talk about some of the teams that have already qualified for the Women's World Cup as well coming up. But we want to remind you, more CONCACAF Women's Championship coming your way tomorrow. We've got Jamaica, Costa Rica at 6, and then it's Cuba and Canada at 8:30 Eastern. Costa Rica and Canada, they both won their opening Group B matches. Coming up next, Mexico, they try to bounce back from that opening 6-0 defeat to the U.S. El Tri taking on TNT. Coverage of that one over on FS2 begins in just about 20 minutes. 5th minute corner kick headed home by Samantha Mewis, her 8th international goal, and the first of 5 from the USA today. More impressions from their victory coming up next.
It can't be. I'm not ready. I do spin class. What? The refrigerator? Oh, come on. Do you know how much this cost me? You're killing me. Let me rephrase that.
Your refrigerator, air conditioner, water heater will all die sometime. When they do, your homeowner's insurance won't cover them. Be sure your budget's protected with an American Home Shield home warranty. We help cover the cost to repair or replace components of your systems and appliances, no matter their age. Limitations and exclusions apply. Home systems and appliances will eventually die. Count on American Home Shield to get you back up and running.
Oh, the air conditioner too?
Be sure your budget's protected. For free information, call 1-800-953-5759. That's 1-800-953-5759. Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield.
Take Prilosec OTC and take control of heartburn. So you don't have to stash antacids here, or here. Kick your antacid habit with Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
It's back. And it's front. No, really. The Triple Double Crunch Wrap $5 box is back. And it's still all mains, no sides, with 2 crunchy tacos and a medium soda. Just $5. Only at Taco Bell.
Mexico have taken part in 3 previous Women's World Cups tonight. They resumed their quest for a ticket to France next summer. El Tri, Trinidad Tobago, that one live over on FS2 in just a couple minutes. Group A, U.S. all alone on top, running away from the competition, 6 points plus 11 goal difference. They're next in action as they take on TNT on Wednesday. For more on their win, we go back live to Cary, North Carolina. The Hall of Famer, JP Delacanter and Allie Wagner, guys.
Thank you, Rob. Kind of like a Hall of Fame performance, right, from Carly Lloyd tonight. She had 3 goals, could have had 5 or 6.
Yeah, she could have. I think she had a really bright game tonight. I think if you look at the way the U.S. played, it played into her strengths. There was a lot of service in the box, but what I liked about her, I think performance overall, was her movement up top. This isn't a position that she's been accustomed to her whole career. She's usually a center midfielder. Now as that point person, those runs in the channels were really good tonight. Yeah. I think it stretched the opponent. And to be fair, Panama wasn't really up to the task, and I don't think we anticipated them being so.
How about individuals? Who else stood up? Maybe a Kristen Press, Sam Mewis, someone else?
I think Kristen Press in the first half was incredibly bright. I thought she tore up that left side. I thought Sam Mewis darting through the center of midfield, those late runs out of mid were great, but I also thought you get a Haran sliding in there, and her vision, her distribution were bright as well. So, look, this is a team that's loaded. 9 changes. They didn't miss a beat, and I think they look like they're really well poised going to that 3rd game and into the semis.
What happens after that? What do they have to improve on to take it maybe to even another level? You don't want to peak too soon.
I don't think any team's ever going to complain about playing well, and I think that will be the case with them. I really don't know that there's anything to improve upon. I think the variety in attack has been incredibly good for them, something that we haven't seen in years past. You just don't know where they're going to pop up. Usually it was set pieces it would come down to. They're doing it all, so I think they're just going to glide right into the semi.
One more game for the USA, but I'm sure they'll be watching this one that's coming up at FS2 between Mexico and Trinidad and Tobago. Rob?
All right, JP, thank you. And the U.S. women, as we mentioned, back in action on Wednesday. They play the 2nd game of a Group A doubleheader. Both games live on FS2. Panama, Mexico, 5 Eastern, and then TNT in the United States at 7:30 Eastern. Just moments ago, our Alex Curry caught up with the hat trick girl, Carly Lloyd.
Carly, congratulations on picking up the hat trick. It could have been 4 or 5 goals. How impressed were you with Panama's 17-year-old goalkeeper tonight?
Very, very impressed. You know, I think I went over to her a couple of times to tell her how good she was tonight. She played a fantastic match, and you know, hopefully that gives her a lot of confidence in you know, in herself and in Panama. You know, they brought it. They can play. They put the ball down and played, and you know, credit to our team for getting the job done tonight.
And one more match here in the group stage. What's going to be the goal in that match before heading to the knockout stage?
Well, we can't take our foot off the pedal. We've got to keep it going, and you know, there's no saving ourselves. We've got to just, you know, come out hard and hit the ground running. And you know, now we got this one under our belt. Now we focus on the next one, and you know, don't get too ahead of ourselves. But you know, we just want to take it one game at a time.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So Lloyd with her 8th international hat trick. The state's likely headed to the semis as your Group A winner, which would mean facing the Group B runner-up next Sunday live right here on FS1. And a victory in that game would mean the U.S. is off to yet another Women's World Cup. Let's start by going big picture here right now. Lex, I'll start with you. The U.S., they won it all 3 summers ago. Are they better? Are they worse? Are they the same right now compared to that team?
I think they are better. And first things first, love Carly Lloyd, but slow your roll. Just because she scored 3 goals against Panama doesn't mean she should be starting. And we are faced with a situation where Carly Lloyd, as important as she was in Vancouver and in Canada in the World Cup, might not be starting. But if you look at goalkeeper, Hope Solo. Best American goalkeeper ever to play
male
the game.
Or female.
Maybe best goalkeeper ever to play the game. She's no longer there. I don't think that they have improved in the goalkeeping position. Defense, we looked at then Julie Johnson as an incredible center back. She's moved now Julie Ertz into that midfield position. I think she's the most important player on this team going forward, being in that midfield position. And I think Sovereign's going to continue on. And whether it's Dahlkemper or Davison coming on, I think they're going to shore that up. That's not a problem. They've added speed and someone like Crystal Dunn. They've gotten away a little bit from the Abby Wambach long ball, just kind of put it in there with what Alex Morgan has done, and with Heath and Megan Rapinoe, the ability to play one-on-one and break it down. So all in all, I think that this team has improved. Is it enough for them to defend their championship? Until we see them play in a situation like a Sweden where they have a difficulty breaking down that bunker, we're not going to know.
We're going to talk about the big picture of the Women's World Cup, the way it's shaping up right now in a little bit. But let's continue talking about the U.S., Megan. And again, 6-0, 5-0. You're saying to yourself, goals clearly aren't a problem. However, you start really looking at those results and you're saying, it shouldn't be plus 11. It should be plus 15, plus 16, plus 20 even.
Right. I agree with Lexi. I think this team has gotten better. But if we take a look around the world, we look at the Germanys, the Japans, the Netherlands, these teams have underachieved this year. And so if we're comparing the U.S. to these other teams, maybe it's not as big of improvement as we thought. They really need to focus on being able to finish in the run of play, being clinical. We're able to score on set pieces. We're clinical on set pieces. But if you take a look here, we're missing goals that should be in. We're missing passes that should be played. And I just think that we need to be able to put the ball in if we're going to be able to beat bunker defenses like Sweden to avoid that loss in the Olympics.
And while we talk so much about the inability to beat Sweden in that bunker situation, also what happens at a certain point if someone says, you know what, we're going to come at you from the first whistle. We're going to put that HP sauce, high pressure, and you're going to have to play out of the back, and they start winning that ball. How is this team? Because we saw today, you know, the center backs are just kind of hanging out there with a smoke and a coffee, just lollygagging around, which is fine because that's the game that you played. But they're not under pressure. When they get that ball, they have plenty of time and space. They can look around. They can do whatever they want. At some point, someone's going to put some pressure too. So there's 2 different faces that this team at some point is going to have to deal with. And I'm really interested to see ultimately when that happens, how they're going to deal with it. Whether it's the bunker mentality or whether it's somebody that comes in your face and puts that pressure on you.
Best thing to defeat a bunker mentality is what?
Going wide, getting the ball across, and finishing your chances.
Also helps getting an early goal. They got a 3rd-minute goal versus Mexico, a 5th-minute goal today. Kind of softens up the defense just a little bit, doesn't it? The U.S. so closing in on adding their name to this list of countries that have already booked their place in France next summer. We have 15 of the 24 spots claimed already. The field includes the heavy hitters, Germany, Norway, Japan, the 3 nations besides the States to already win a Women's World Cup title. Also, welcome to the Women's World Cup, Chile taking part for the first time. They finished 2nd in South American qualifying. Scotland also set to make its debut appearance. And how about these scenes last month following that 2-1 win over Albania? Kim Little, Jane Ross, the goal scorers that day. Next summer will mark the first time that Scotland takes part in a men's or women's World Cup since 1998, when the men competed in France.
World Cup is better with Scotland in it.
100%.
Oh,
100%. They bring it, and the wool tartan things, heavy in the summer, but they get through it. So we see some of the nations that are there already. Your early impressions of how that field is shaping up, how would you describe it?
I think that there's a lot of really strong teams already in the field. And then if you look at Germany, who I think has underachieved this year, they just hired a new coach. And with that new coach, I think they'll be able to perform to higher and higher levels. So it will be interesting to see how this shapes up.
Look, host nation is one thing, and we saw, whether it's the U.S. From a men's perspective, when you just try to get out of your group and stuff like that. But if you're France with aspirations of winning a World Cup and doing it in your own country, I would look to France right now. I think there's going to be an incredible amount of support, as obvious. They will certainly have seen what happened this summer with their men's team, and I just think that there's going to be an incredible positive feel for a team that we know has gotten better and better and better.
We see it every World Cup, men's or women's. There is an absolute home field advantage, and France can really run with that. We are just 243 days away from the start of the 2019 Women's World Cup. Feels like we just finished a World Cup. It's because we did. And that tournament, part of a busy summer of soccer here on Fox Sports, also includes the CONCACAF Gold Cup. The U.S. are reigning champs. That one kicks off June 18th. That is 254 days from now.